Are you ready for some good news? No enemy stronghold can stand against the power of the gospel. Here's today's text from 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5. We destroy arguments and every lofty opinion raised against the knowledge of God, and take every thought captive to obey Christ. In the same way that ancient armies built fortresses on hilltops for strategic advantage, the unseen foe of God's people uses invisible strongholds to hide and attack us. A stronghold, Paul says, consists of arguments and lofty opinions that set themselves up against the knowledge of God. A spiritual fortress is a collection of wrong thoughts built upon a false belief. Well, here's an unvarnished personal example. It's a picture of the stronghold of shame-based thinking. As a child, I knew what we all know about ourselves. I was flawed. If you can imagine a wall built not of stones but of thoughts, envision the bottom layer reading, I'm flawed. Here's how the enemy built the stronghold of shame in my life. I made a wrong assumption, a terrible, unbiblical, horrible error. I believed that because I was flawed, I was not acceptable. So imagine the second layer of the wall reading, I am less loved. Once I'd been duped into believing that my flaws would make me less loved, it was a natural, logical assumption that I would be better off to hide my flaws. So the next layer of the invisible stronghold in my life read, I should close up. If I'm less loved because of my imperfections, of course I'll try to hide my problems. And there in the darkness, hell has its way. Not only did I feel the need to hide my flaws, but also I felt like I needed to be better. So the stronghold of shame-based thinking caused the next layer of the wall to read, be more. In fact, for the shame-based thinker, being more is never quite enough. It never ends. It had to be perfect. So behind that strong fortress of shame-based thinking, the forces of darkness found a strategic vantage point to cause me anxiety, restlessness, and drivenness. The answer for an anxious, perfectionistic approval seeker is not to try to manage the destructive behaviors. The answer is to tear down the whole invisible wall behind which the tempter stirs the angst that causes all the behavioral problems. The answer is the gospel truth. Yes, I'm flawed, but I'm not less loved because of it. I am so loved. God's love isn't set upon me because of my goodness, but because of His. When you replace the foundational lie, all the other wrong beliefs come toppling down. The good news of Jesus Christ dismantles strongholds, and that's the gospel. Well, that's today's daily devotional. Well, I highly encourage you, if you missed the message, go get it. It's free. How to Dismantle a Stronghold at sharingthelight.org.